Welcome to Tales After Dark, your late-night sanctuary for calm, mystery, and rest. If you're looking to escape the noise of the day, wash away your thoughts, and drift into the world of soothing stories, you've found the right place. Every week, we'll leave the hectic world behind and retreat into the quiet shadows, from isolated cabins in the rain to sleepy, forgotten towns. The day is done, the world is quiet, and the night has finally arrived. Close your eyes, breathe out the day, and let's get lost in a story. The world outside the cottage was a soft, watercolour wash of deep blues and midnight greys. High in the hills, tucked away from the rush of the modern world, sat a small stone dwelling known simply as the Lakehouse. It was a place where time didn't seem to tick, but rather flow, mirroring the gentle waters of the vast, quiet lake it overlooked. On this particular night, a steady, rhythmic rain had begun to fall. It wasn't a storm of harsh winds or startling thunder, but a patient, whispering rain. The kind that wraps the world in a heavy velvet blanket of sound, blurring the edges of the trees and turning the distant mountains into a faint silhouettes. Inside the cottage, the air was warm, smelling faintly of old cedarwood, dried lavender, and the clean, crisp scent of the damp earth drifting through a slightly propped-up window. A single amber lamp cast a long, amber glow across the room, dancing softly against the rows of books that lined the stone walls. In the hearth, a small fire was settling into its final act. The bright flames had subsided, leaving behind a bed of glowing rhythmic embers that pulsed with a deep, comforting heat. Every few minutes, a soft pop from the wood broke the silence, a tiny punctuation mark in the symphony of the rain. The cottage felt entirely isolated, yet it didn't feel lonely. There was a gentle mystery to the lake on nights like this. If you looked out the paned glass windows, you could see where the dark water met the misty air, blending into an endless expanse of calm. Every now and then, a soft, ethereal glow would ripple across the centre of the lake, a phenomena the locals called the water lanterns. It wasn't magic, exactly, but rather the unique way the moonlight filtering through the thick rain clouds caught the natural thermal vapours rising from the deep, warm water. It looked as though 100 tiny, soft-lit candles were floating just beneath the surface, bobbing in a slow, hypnotic waltz. The ripples moved with an effortless cadence, rise, as the warm vapour met the cool night air, drift, as the gentle breeze guided the mist across the glass-like surface, fade, as the light tucked itself back into the shadows of the lake. Watching it was like watching the breath of the earth itself, slow, steady, and completely at peace. Inside, the armchair by the window was piled high with quilted blankets, worn soft by years of quiet evenings. A porcelain mug sat on the side table, the last remnants of a chamomile tea sending up a final, lazy curl of steam. The soundscape of the cottage was perfectly attuned for sleep. Every sound worked together to create a fortress of tranquility. The rain outside seemed to wash away the thoughts of the day, scrubbing the mind clean of worries, plans, and restlessness. With every drop that struck the glass, the world outside grew a little softer, a little more distant. As the night deepened, the rain settled into an even slower tempo. The mist on the lake grew thicker, wrapping the isolated cottage in a cocoon of absolute privacy. The rain does not merely fall upon the lake. It seems to emerge from it, a heavy, silver shroud that blurs the boundary between the black water and the ink-stained sky. Nestled into the jagged curve of the shoreline sits the cottage. It is a structure that appears less built and more weathered into existence, shaped by decades of damp gales and isolating silence. The cottage is constructed from rough-hewn, moss-slicked timber and dark, local fieldstone that glimmers like obsidian under the occasional flash of distant lighting. Its roof, pitched steeply to shed the heavy northern rains, is thatched with thick layers of peat and overgrown with wild ferns, making it blend seamlessly into the dark ridge behind it. A single, narrow porch wraps around the lakeside front. The wood beneath the overhang is dark with absorbed moisture, and a pair of rusted iron lanterns hang from the eaves. They do not burn with fire, but occasionally catch the faint, ambient luminescence of the storm, swinging in a slow, hypnotic rhythm to the cadence of the wind. The windows, small, diamond-paned glass windows, look out over the water. The glass is old and warped, distorting the view of the lake into a swirling, liquid abstraction. The front door is heavy oak, bound in blackened iron studs. There is no path leading to it, only a patch of crushed shale and wild, rain-beaten reeds that grow right up to the stone step. The lake itself is an immense, stilled mirror, broken only by the relentless rhythmic drumming of the downpour. On a night like this, the water behaves strangely. The rain creates a dense, low-hanging fog that sits directly on the surface, a phantom floor that hides the depths below. Every few minutes, the steady pat, pat, pat of the rain is punctuated by a deep, hollow groan from the water, the sound of shifting currents, or perhaps the lake breathing against the stone foundations of the shore. The scent in the air is thick and intoxicating, a mixture of rich, damp earth, decaying pine needles, cold stone, and the sharp, clean ozone of the storm. Inside, the cottage is a sanctuary of heavy silence and shifting shadows, a stark contrast to the wet, chill outside. The heart of the main room is a massive, floor-to-ceiling fireplace built from river stone. Inside, a fire burns with a deep, steady intensity. It is not a crackling, roaring blaze, but a low, ancient fire fed by dense logs of peat and aged oak. The flames cast a rich amber glow across the room, painting the timber-beamed ceiling in shades of gold and copper. Inside the cottage, the rain becomes music. You hear the sharp, frantic tapping against the glass panes, the dull, heavy thudding on the mossy roof, and the deep, rhythmic shh of the lake water lapping against the shore just yards away. Together, they form a white noise so profound it makes the rest of the world feel entirely non-existent. The room is furnished for solitary comfort. The hard chair, a deep, wing-back armchair upholstered in faded forest green velvet, sits close to the hearth. A heavy woolen blanket in muted earth tones is draped over the armrest. In the corner, beneath the warped window, sits a small, scarred wooden desk. Upon it rests an unlit brass oil lamp, a stack of blank, heavy-gauge paper, and a fountain pen, waiting for words that have yet to be spoken. Shelves carved directly into the stone walls are packed with old, leather-bound volumes. Their spines are weathered, smelling faintly of vanilla, dried lavender, and old paper. There are no signs of modern life here. No wires stretch from the roof to the tree line. No tracks disturb the mud outside. The cottage feels entirely unstuck from time, existing in a permanent, peaceful twilight. As the rain intensifies, wrapping the structure in a claustrophobic, protective embrace, a profound sense of safety washes over the space. The world outside is wild, cold, and unpredictable, but within these thick stone walls, beside the glowing embers and the sound of the rain, time slows down to a crawl. It is a place designed for forgetting and for being entirely forgotten. There was nowhere else you needed to be. There was nothing else you needed to do. The world was taking care of itself, resting under the cool summer rain. The glowing embers in the fireplace slowly faded from bright orange to a dusty, sleepy crimson. The floating lights on the lake grew dim, nodding off beneath the dark water. Let the rhythm of the rain take the weight off your thoughts. With every breath in, feel the cool, clean air of the Lakehouse. With every breath out, let yourself sink a little deeper into the mattress, as heavy and relaxed as the mist settling over the water. The cottage would stand guard through the night. The rain would continue its gentle lullaby. And as the last embers finally went dark, the mind could finally let go, drifting out into the calm, quiet lake of sleep.